I talk to an American, whenever I have to talk to an American, I kind of go into that interaction assuming that I'm dealing with someone who's not normal. That's a shame. And I think everyone outside of America approaches it the same way. You know, even if they don't consciously realize that this is what they're doing, you have to make adjustments when you're talking to an American. You kind of lower your expectations. You know, you go into it knowing that you're not going to have a normal interaction. Just for example, I don't know whether or not the person sitting across from me is even sober or not, because at least half of the population drinks alcohol regularly. 1 out of every 5 Americans is an alcoholic. I think it's something like 1 in 3 do drugs. 1 in 6 Americans are either misusing or abusing prescription drugs at any given time. Not to mention 1 out of every 5 Americans has some sort of mental, psychological, or emotional disorder. I mean, this is a big thing that they talk about, the mental health crisis. We've talked about that before. So literally, you never know what you're going to get when you sit down and talk to an American. These are people that don't value the sanctity of their own minds, their own cognition. They're willing to abuse their own brains. And they act like this isn't a major issue. Well, it is a major issue. This is a people who habitually inflict self-harm on their own ability to reason and to think. It's no wonder that so many Americans subscribe to some very strange ideas and beliefs and conspiracy theories and so on. Just under half of all Americans believe in things like astrology and ghosts and UFOs and aliens and lizard people and what have you, reincarnation, manifestation, all these quasi-spiritual New Age beliefs and whatnot, superstitions. So this is the people who don't take their own mind seriously. And this is what their culture has done to them. This is what their society has done to them. 1/3 of Americans are below literacy levels and haven't even read a book in the last year, in the last 12 months. Not to mention that they're so heavily propagandized, indoctrinated, and manipulated by their own media and their own schools. And most Americans don't even leave the United States. I think it's less than half of Americans even have a passport. So the chances are very low. If you come across a random American, the chances are very low that person is not under the influence of alcohol or drugs or medication, mental illness, misinformation, disinformation, miseducation, or ignorance. This is what your society has done to you. Most people in the U.S. and most people in the world are financially struggling. The global 0.1% and the American 0.1% have nothing to do with people's lives and experience around the world, and nothing to do with the lives and experience of Americans. We're locked out of power, and you're locked out of power. We're oppressed by your elites, and you're oppressed by your elites. And they don't draw borders on the basis of identity. The American power structure doesn't treat themselves like they're American. They think that they're citizens of the world. They think that they have a right to rule from the Philippines to Brazil. They think every country is their business. They feel entitled to rule all of these other countries in the world and to determine what even their domestic internal policies should be. But the average regular American person, rank and file American citizen, feels no connection whatsoever with people who are almost identical to them in their circumstances and their conditions, who's on the other side of the planet, even though the conditions of that person on the other side of the planet is being determined by the same people who are determining your condition. You're really self-sabotaging when you think of yourself and you allow yourself to be put in this box that separates you from the rest of the people of the world who have so much in common with you.